So, as Dr. McLean told us much more eloquently than I ever could, and I promise I will not sing today, we don't need another convening. We just need to start getting some stuff done. And that was why we came together to start this conference in the first place. We created this conference to take action. So, I'm here to kind of summarize what we've learned in the past day and a half, um, so that way we can start taking action. My good friend Neil Herring said this, or maybe Mark Twain. You just never know at this time, but the place of your birth should not dictate your cause of death. And I think that's kind of what this is all starting to boil down to. Um, so we need to level set here, right? We all know what environmental injustice is. I think we've heard a lot about it. A lot of us in this room have experienced it. We've got plenty of maps about it. We've got data that is in various forms of accessibility about it. Um, and we certainly know that those that have been most affected by environmental injustices are those that have historically been left out of the conversation. Um, Oh, wait, I was supposed to do that. Also, when you make a slide deck at midnight, this is what's going to happen. Uh, but we know this, right? Those that are least in charge of their fate historically have been most burdened by this. But good news, people finally get that the climate is changing and they're actually concerned about it, right? Like, I feel this is huge progress, right? This is it, guys. 75% of people are somewhat concerned about climate change, and they are right, and they know that other people are concerned about it. So this is huge progress, right? We can do something. So we need to stop convincing people that it's real and just start making things happen. And 76% of people are like, "Hey, we should do things to fix our public health," right? So this is another, right? Like, this is a change lever, right? If we message this in a way that people understand and are like excited about, then we can do it too. So this is great. And we heard this multiple times from multiple people throughout the conference that it is a cycle, right? Like, um, things happen and it makes things worse for us. Right. There's confounding factors, and then you live in a neighborhood with poor environmental quality, and then that makes you sicker, and then that makes you less likely to go finish school, and get a high paying job. So you're stuck in that neighborhood with poor environmental quality, and then you can't advocate for yourself, and then blah blah, right? It keeps going. It's a cycle. We heard it from our last speaker, we've heard it multiple times. So it feels kind of scary and like we're trapped, but oh my gosh, there's animation. Please keep going. Sorry. We This is also, yeah. Also, when you steal other people's slides, they have like surprises in them. Uh we can do something. Press it again, Frankie. Do it positively. Yay! So to do something about it, we need to visualize what environmental justice looks like, right? We know what injustice looks like, but we need to know what justice looks like. And so I'm stealing words from a lot of people. EJ is seeing a need and then acting to meet that need, right? So we'll know when we have arrived, when we can all breathe without being at risk of asthma or COPD, right? We can all grow our food in soil that has not been contaminated. When we don't have to boil our water, thanks, Atlanta. Um, right? Good gravy. That was a long last week. And then we know we will arrive when the true cost of our health and well being is being taken into account when a growth industry is invited to come to town, right? Is it really growth? Do we talk about the actual factors of that growth? And we will arrive when pollution everywhere is seen as pollution anywhere. Or I did that backwards. Pollution anywhere is pollution everywhere. Sorry. And we're all working together to eliminate it. So this was the first lesson that we learned, is that and I stole this from Andrea, who stole from somebody else, is that first they ignore you, right? Then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then they win. And then you win, right? And then you win. Yay, coffee! Yay! So we are totally in the laughter stage right now, right? Like people have stopped ignoring us. Now they're starting to laugh at us. So let's make them nervous, right? Let's make them start fighting us, right? And so how do we do this? We need to stop playing whack-a-mole. This is step number 1, right? Tanya just said that, right? Like, people are putting into their shareholder reports, "We're moving to Augusta because it's a more favorable regulatory environment." Great. So if pollution isn't like if it's too bad for one state or one county in this state, why is it okay for us to put it in another place, right? Like how yeah, okay, it's cool to not have it here, but it's fine to have it here. We need to stop playing whack-a-mole. Um, and to stop playing whack-a-mole, you need to build a coalition. And you also need to take precautionary measures. So and I love this. I just stole this from you right now, Dr. Nomi, is that we need to shift the burden of proof to proponents of the activity. It shouldn't be on us to be like, wait, this is going to be bad. It should be on them to say, wait, this is going to be good. Right. And we need to look at the full cost of environmental and health impacts. This has been over and over full cost. Okay. And so you need to involve all people in the decision making process, right? Like these seem like pretty simple action items, but they're let's just say them again, involve everyone. All right. Oh, now I'm snapping. That's too much. So the and as Treva said, right, you can't go ape all by yourself. I mean, you can, but it's just embarrassing. So we should be going ape together. Um, and that means that we have to look at the intersection of societal, economic, health, and environmental issues, right? Every one of these interests needs to come together to tell a complete story about what's going on. So, this is a call to action, right? This is how you think outside of your comfort zone, right? Like academics, we like to go to our conferences and we like to put up our posters. We like to talk to each other and publish our papers and then not talk to anyone else, right? And it's very comforting. Um, well, we're all antisocial too. So how do you do this? Just this is a roadmap for people in the audience who don't like making new friends, which is me. Find someone that you don't know, identify something you have in common with them, and then start sharing how you've been successful in the past, and then keep engaging, right? See, make a new friend based on common interests. And then more importantly, and so now this poster sat on my dad's wall for like 20 years, so I'm just going to go with it. Don't wait for your shift to come out in, go swim out to it. Um, go find the people you want to engage with. Yes, like find them. And this means that, you're going to have to talk to people you don't like, right? Because we can't just talk to the people that we like and feel the same way, right? We have to someone invited that polluting industry into your town because they thought it was a good idea. They didn't just like wake up and be like, how can I screw over the citizens of my community today, right? They were like, I think this is a good idea. So you need to talk to the people who thought this was a good idea and find out why they thought it was a good idea. And that's annoying and uncomfortable, but we got to keep doing it. Okay. And then more importantly, every community is different. And we heard over and over, just don't walk in assuming what people actually want or need. You have to actually ask them what they want or need. And so this was a theme throughout the day, is actually talking to the communities that we should be working with. And so it's a cycle again, right? You got to talk to people, you got to act on their input, you got to report back, and then you have to stick around. And this is another thing that we need to talk about that costs a lot of money. Holding a community convening is not cheap, right? Especially with the cost of foods. Just buying a taco bar for a bunch of people to sit around in a place in like a church basement so we can all ask them questions Cost money, time, printouts, taco bars. I really like taco bars. But anyways, this costs money, right? And also if you're asking the community for their input, you're asking them for their valuable time. You have to at least feed them, right? And so stop assuming that they wanna come to your community convening because they really just don't they're gonna talk to another person, right? And how do we engage them and keep them valued, right? Let's make sure we're at least doing this, and we have to come back. And this is I'm pointing specifically at the research community. You were really good at coming in and asking questions and leaving and never coming back. And so sorry guys, I've done it to you. And so but that costs money, right? So just throwing that out there. Sorry. Uh, sorry. So this pissed me off the other day. I was writing a grant proposal and I was like, this is for like $500,000 for 3 years. And like, it's from like a major granting institution and they wanted like us to hold like 30 community actions and build like an app. And I was like, do you know how much a software engineer costs to hire? And like all this stuff. And then I was like, or I could go to the NSF and I could get like $4 million for 3 years to study fruit flies, right? So please, major granting agencies, understand that if you want your science out in the street, it costs the same amount as doing the science in the lab. Lesson 2, empower all the voices. Like this was a very much I'm back to my Mark Twain again, or we're just gonna blame everything on Mark Twain today. Don't say the old lady scream, bring her on and let her scream, right? Like this is an adage. And so, but everyone was like, oh yeah, we shouldn't just tell people what the community wants. We should actually just like let the community speak for themselves. So right, make the community like empower that and facilitate those connections, right? Because me telling a story about a community member is not nearly as powerful as an actual community member. Okay. All right. Here's another lesson: democratize. Thanks, Tanya, for teeing this up. I appreciate that. Democratize data, right? It's out there. We need it. And it's in like 30 different formats, and no one really knows how to access it. And it's a hot mess, but it's all out there, right? So we also need a lot of collaborations out there to get this into the hands of the people that need it and start answering the questions, right? So I've been doing data analysis forever. And when you have a big set of data, you can make all the spurious correlations you want and you can ask it all the questions you want, but unless you have the person who needs the answers asking the questions, you're going to have stupid results. So like we need to start it's a true statement. So, but that's on us, right? Like, cause I can ask the data any question I want to ask it, but I need you all to come to me and be like, I need you to tell me what this means, right? Or I have been seeing this and how is there data to tell us these questions, answers. All right. Um, look at that. Oh, hey, it was like this, what the problems were is another slide that I forgot was coming. So that's keep going. So, and I have to brag. We made a map. It's really cool. Should come ask Science for Georgia about how we can overlay questions on top of our EJ map because I'm proud of what we did. Keep going. All right. This was brought up though. There's a lot of great socioeconomic data out there. There's a lot of great environmental data out there. It is really hard to get health data. And I understand that there's a lot of like personal health information in health data, but this is a thing that everyone is asking for is health data, health outcome data, because this is like the missing piece of the puzzle. All right, keep going. Okay. Space Invaders. Who remembers Space Invaders? Right. Thank you for being old, guys, with me. Yes. So the key to winning Spaces Invaders is to aim where you think the ship is going to be, not where it is right now. And so as we create these community remediation programs and everything else, we need to aim at what we know is happening and what we like. Keep going. Right. Like they pointed out yesterday, yeah, you're doing all this remediation, you forgot that the sea levels are rising, right? Like, oh, you're doing all this remediation, but you forgot that you just put another factory right next door, right? Like, so you have to plan and understand what's coming next. So, and this is my challenge to the research community. See, I'm throwing you under the bus again. Um, Cumulative impacts. We all know that they're super important. They're really hard to measure. Like how? How are we measuring them? Like what is a good standard and a metric, right? It's easy to measure like what's coming out of a smokestack right here, but how do we measure a cumulative impact of 50 years of neglect? Like what do we do there? So this is my challenge. Okay, keep going. All right. Another lesson. People want to be empowered and make change and have impact, right? Like no one wants people to do it for them anymore, except my kids. Okay. So, um, when you give people action, when you tell people like, holy crap, there's all this E. coli in your water, or there's all this PM 2.5 in the air. First off, what is PM 2.5, right? Like first, yeah, uh-huh. First, give me a simple definition of PM 2.5 and then tell people what to do about it, right? Like stop going into neighborhoods and telling them the world is on fire without giving them some things to cling to that they can start doing to take action. Empower them to get it done. Okay. And then finally, we need to start training the next generation. I just made fun of yes. Woo! I just made fun of us for understanding Space Invaders, but I'm still like 20 years away from retirement. But we gotta start training people now, right? Like we gotta get them excited about it. We gotta start passing the torch and be ready to. We have to remind them to be ever vigilant, right? Like I was talking to my mom, and she's like, "Oh God, I didn't realize I'd have to be talking to you about reproductive rights again, right? And we thought we won that battle 50 years ago, and now it's back, right? And voting rights are constantly under threat, right? Like, oh my God, it's 2020. A number of times I read a newspaper article and I'm like, what year is it, right? So we have to constantly remind ourselves of what's happening and empower the next generation to make it, to keep up the good fight. All right. But remember to make it fun and engaging because they're still kids. So we had a couple really cool presentations about gardens and Roblox and like getting out of the house and doing stuff. And Gary Harris has this really cool program, right? Like at least remember kids like to have fun. I like to have fun. And so, or else, oh my God, it actually worked like I thought it was. So this is a real thing. Burnout. It's happening, right? I mean, how many times do you get up in the morning, you're like, I am just so tired, right? Um, so we need to account for the fact that burnout is happening to all of us. I really like that self-care is a thing that we have now started talking about in public. So that's great. So remember that. So take care of yourself, guys, right? Like, remember the world will still be on fire next year, but your kid's only going to be 7 this year, right? Like the amount of times I'm like, "Oh, right, do that," right? And we had a great conversation. Nia was talking about moms are terrible at that about this. So and also remember moms out there that it is okay to turn off everything and just stare at the wall for an hour. That is like the hardest lesson I've had to learn over the past 4 years, so I just wanna pass this on to you guys, is that it is okay to do nothing for an hour. It'll all be there when that hour's over, and you will be a lot happier. So I just wanted to pass that on. Years of therapy to be able to say it's okay to stare at a wall for an hour. Um, I'm saving you guys some therapy money. Alright, so but stop and smell the flowers. Eat dinner with your family. Go have dinner with your friends. Play with kids in the park. Remember, it's all here and we need to keep taking care of ourselves. So that was a big theme from yesterday too. Keep going. Um, right? Oh God, there's an animation in this. Do it. All right. So you knew it was happening. But I do like this quote, right? And it feels overwhelming, right? It really does. But we might not be able to get all the way to the end of the road, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try, right? We have to start. And this is going to take a while, but we're all in this together, right? And these adorable children will grow up to save the world for us. Um, all right, keep going. All right. So, as a family, thank you. Thank you. All right, great. I was hoping people were paying attention yesterday. So, let's do it again. As a family, right. All right, keep going. So, we are going to go ape. Thank you, Triva. So we are going to advocate, advertise, and agitate. I added in agitate. I thought it was a good one. Um, we're going to petition and partner, and we're going to educate and engage, right? We're going to do all of these things. These are our action items. So to do that, all right, also vote. Just also, I'm so sorry for like the next month or like 6 months of your political campaign ads. Like, does anybody else just not want to watch sports for the entirety of the fall because of this? I love football and I just, oh God, it's going to be awful. Okay. So, but remember to vote because we live in a swing state. So good gravy. You're going to know that voting's happening, guys. It's happening.